Thank you, conference. It's great to be back here in Manchester, or as I like to call it, the Southern Powerhouse. I want to talk to you today about the general election. In fact, I want to talk to you about two of them. The first one was 2 years ago, and for us in Scotland, it was the same old story, knocking our pans in, hitting countless doors, delivering thousands of leaflets, too many conversations to count, and another pair of boots ruined. And at the end of it all, we started with one MP, we finished with one MP, and we might have survived the SNP tsunami, but we were no further forward than when we began. We were still outgunned by those sodding pandas. But 2 years later, we had a second election this June. Back on the stump, back knocking those same doors, delivering more leaflets, having thousands more conversations. And yes, by the end of it, yet another pair of boots totaled. But this time, it was different. This time, people were looking for a serious alternative to a nationalism that had let down our schools and was more concerned with division than delivery. And we went from 1 MP to 13, our best result in decades. And after heroically holding the line on his own, suddenly David Mundell got some company. And those pandas are going to have to go some now to catch up. But we're not done, conference, and far from it. But we didn't turn things around in one 7-week campaign. We did it through grafting hard between elections, by organising, by making and remaking the argument. And I have watched, with incredulity, the response to the Labour Party conference this week. Commentators who should know better, declaring that Jeremy Corbyn is a shoo-in to number 10 just because Glastonbury chanted his name to the White Stripes. Folks, he hasn't even won a raffle yet. And I can tell you something else. I have been here before, and I can tell you how this story ends. Because I have watched as Nicola Sturgeon has sold out rock venues, as she released a line of signature clothing, as she sold foam fingers to the faithful so that they could point to the sky, as she flew over them in a helicopter she slapped her own face on. And I have read the commentary. I have read the commentary that said that her momentum was irresistible, that everything would be swept away before her, and that the other parties in Scotland should just pack up and go home. Well, conference, I don't like anyone telling me where to go. Politics is not for faint hearts. It's not about what's in fashion or who is the absolute boy. It's about making the case for what you believe in. It is about service and duty and getting the job done. It is about delivering for others and giving everyone the chance to get on. And just as the SNP came crashing down to earth, just as they lost 40% of their seats in June, just as 500,000 Scots chose to take their votes away, so too can the Corbyn bubble be burst, but only if we work hard to make it so. Because you know what? People tire of being offered free unicorns. They tire of easy promises that don't add up. They want serious solutions to the issues that are facing their world. They want opportunities to make their own lives better. A good school so their children can do anything they set their mind to. A strong economy so they'll always have the security of work. And well-funded public services to look after their needs. They also want to keep more of their own money because they make better decisions for their family's future than the state makes for them. And that's what we offer. That's what Theresa May offers. A belief in country, in duty, in service, and the power of the people. And that's what we fight for. Always we fight. And we may have 5 years, but I tell you, we need to get to work right now. Because the in-tray is full. Firstly, Brexit. It is time to get the best deal that we can. And do you know what? It's time that we in this party made it clear that we're not Leavers or Remainers anymore. We're just Brits. We were people, yeah. We were people who were asked to make a decision, who did, and who now want to deliver that decision in the best way possible, who now must unite behind our leader to get the best deal for us and the right deal for Europe as well. And next, we've got to deliver that strong economy and world-class public services. 10 years of tough times since the crash, and it's time to show working families right across the UK, from a tenement in Glasgow to a one-bed in Grantham, that we've got their back. Yes, we've got record employment in the UK today, but we also need to recognise the pressures faced by the job-juggling generation, where 2 or even 3 jobs are needed to make ends meet. The sheer effort that takes just to keep going, the strain it puts on relationships, the stress of not knowing if you're going to make your rent, and what happens to you if you don't. These people are looking to us for answers and for action to make their lives easier, and it is our duty to deliver. Also, to make our country fairer, to make it clear that this party isn't there for those at the top of the ladder. This party is a ladder. It's what we're about. It's about helping people to move up and to get on. To be the party of home building, the party that enshrines excellence in education, no matter the school, the party that will take action on the low-wage economy and help lift living standards. Further, to be a beacon to the world, to help those that are hurting and to fight for those who can't fight for themselves, to go into bat for our friends and allies, to be able to say that when we go abroad, that despite the financial hit from the last few years, that my country, our country, kept its commitments to the world's poor, and we will continue to do so. And finally, conference. We have a duty to stay united, to stay one united kingdom, by being a nation that realises the ambitions of everyone in this country, that seeks to be a home to all who live here. And I mean everyone, from the people who voted to leave the UK to the majority who voted to stay, from the people who voted to remain in the EU to the people who voted to leave, from the people who can trace their ancestors back generations to people who've settled here from somewhere else, who pursued that innate conservative instinct to better themselves and their families and build a new life in a new land. We need to stand together, not defensive in our diversity and sometimes our disagreement, but to be confident in our ability to embrace difference and to embrace debate, and to have the courage to confront not just our strengths but our weaknesses too. We are a remarkable union conference. And because of the leadership of this party, our union is known the world over as a union of choice, not of force. A union that 3 years ago put our democratic right to choose whether to leave before its very survival. And that's not nothing. In fact, the more time passes, the more remarkable that becomes. And let's say it loud and proud that this is a union that does not hoard power to the centre, but that sought to push it out. And again, did so thanks to a Conservative party that, as Edinburgh, as Cardiff, as Manchester and Seaside will attest, is now the party of devolution. Not Labour, certainly not the Lib Dems. That is us. It's a party that now wants us to use Brexit to go further, to ensure that the power surge that will hit Britain when we leave the EU is felt in Edinburgh, in Cardiff Bay, and in Stormont too. And I'm proud of that conference. I am proud of all that we've done in the last few years to keep this country together and to move forward as one. But we should recognise that these huge changes to our nation pose challenges too. The devolution of power has transformed our nation for the better. It has put power closer to people. But at the same time, while we've built vigorous new devolved structures, we've not done enough to nurture that which binds us. As the Prime Minister said earlier this year when she was in Scotland, all too often Whitehall devolves and forgets. And the danger is that we become a country that stays together, but that lives apart, with all of the cracks exploited by those who would pull us apart for good. So let me make a plea today. Yes, let's absolutely press on with more devolution, but it's time for a bit more union too. More union right across Britain. More union in all parts of our nation, benefiting all of us. More unions spread evenly and not just based in London. Now, conference, let me make this clear. I love London. I have no plans to move there myself, but it is great to visit. And it is wonderful that our small island plays host to the capital of the world. But the truth is, for all the devolution of power of the last 20 years, our union continues to be far too London-centric. Compare us to our friends around the world. New York's global status doesn't diminish Washington's political clout, or LA's creativity, or Silicon Valley's entrepreneurialism. Instead, America has a cluster of great global cities. Or if you look at Germany, where Berlin's political heft is balanced by the financial hub of Frankfurt, or the industry of Munich. We're the odd one out. In fact, among other major capitals, only Moscow accounts for a greater share of national product than London. And this imbalance is getting crazy. We live in a country where the property values in London's top 10 boroughs are worth more than all of Northern Ireland, Scotland, and Wales combined. Where you can sell a 3-bed semi in Ilford and buy half a Sutherland. Where, in a capital city that is zooming forward on the jet fuel of high finance, the economy is further boosted by enough civil servants to fill Wembley. And it's time for change. It is time to fulfill the plans we set out in the election this year. To give Britain a shake and to spread more of our union outside our capital. To see our great metropolitan cities have a larger share in the government of our country. To ensure that if our civil service and our cultural bodies are to claim to be UK institutions, then they must be present across our whole United Kingdom. To move more of the infrastructure, the people and the administration of our country out of the capital and into the nation. And it is happening to a degree already. More civil service jobs coming to my constituency in central Edinburgh. The fantastic new V&A museum that's rising up in Dundee, ready to show the best of Scottish and British design. And here in Manchester, the Northern Powerhouse, now showing the way ahead. But I want to see more. We need to see more. This government's industrial strategy is designed to boost growth in places across all 4 nations of our United Kingdom. And it's reviewing various agencies based in London to see which ones could be ready for a move. So I want us to seize the opportunity to ensure that more of them come to Scotland. And conference, here's the bottom line. The success of our union cannot and should not be measured by the fact that the alternative has failed, that separation is a busted flush. The success of our nation must be measured by our determination to always improve, by going that extra mile, by refusing to accept that the status quo is a given, and by being restless for change. By recognising that thousands of our fellow countrymen and women no longer see this country as theirs, and by seeking not to shun them or to dismiss their complaints, but to answer them with action. And that must be our task as we go forward from conference this week. In government across the United Kingdom, we must be united behind our Prime Minister, determined to face the challenge of the future, to tackle injustice, to be the ladder, to create real social cohesion. And in opposition in Scotland, we must be ready to change and to win. Because I don't know about you, but after 10 years of SNP government, it seems to me like it's time for a new broom. And let's face it, that's not going to be Labour, by the way. They swap their leaders in Scotland so often that Trump's Director of Communications feels sorry for them. But we're serious. We are serious about restoring Scotland's reputation as the education capital of the world. We are serious about boosting our productivity to get Scotland's economy firing again. And we are serious about running a government in Scotland that just gets on with the job for once. A government that you can trust to focus on the tough choices, to dump the tedious grievance politics and the petty complaints. Instead, to act as a grown-up partner with the reformed United Kingdom, eager not just to better Scotland, but in so doing, to better our wider nation too. And as a party, we are re-engaging with our roots. As Teddy Taylor once put it, we're not just there for the people in the big hooses, but for those who can clean their tenement step as well. That's the party that we are building in Scotland and across the United Kingdom. We are building a party that speaks to the hopes of our nation as a whole, from shipworkers in Glasgow to software designers in Dundee, car production lines in Coventry to call centre staff in Cardiff. A party that reaches out to every corner of our country with a level head, but also with an open heart, and with a clear set of values. That strong families are the foundation of stable society, that a good education is the key to a lifetime of opportunity, that everybody should have a safe and secure home, that there should be a job for everyone who wants to work, and that pay should be fair. These are the things that I believe in, and I know that you believe in them too. And it's time for us, for all of us, to unite and fight. Unite and fight for the union of our nation, for the security that people want, for the prosperity that families need, for the future our young people deserve. Unite and fight for this country that we are so proud to serve. Thank you.